పర్మాకల్చర్ జాతీయ సదస్సు మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రారంభం కాబోతుంది కాబట్టినాం.
గంధం అవునో కాదో మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన, ఈ మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన, సినుకు సినుకు కురిసిన నేలన చిత్రమైన వాసన, అది మల్లెల గంధం అవునో కాదో మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన, ఈ మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన. గడ్డి పూలు సిగ నిండా దురిమి పంచుతున్న వాసనో, గడ్డి పూలు సిగ నిండా దురిమి పంచుతున్న వాసనో, ఆయిది ఓనంగా జీవరాశులు ఎదకొచ్చే వాసనో, ఉసిల్ల పుట్టై ఊరుతుంటే నేతి బొట్టు వాసనో, ఆరుద్ర పురుగులు ఎర్రగా భూతల్లి ఎదలో ఊరగా, నీటి గలగలలు కోటి తుమ్మెదలు సరిగమలై పాడగా, సినుకు సినుకు కురిసిన నేలన్న చిత్రమైన వాసన, అది మల్లెల గంధం అవునో కాదో మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన, ఈ మట్టి పిల్ల వాసన.
పర్మాకల్చర్ జాతీయ సదస్సు మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రారంభం కాబోతుంది. దయచేస్తున్నాం. ఈడని బంధనం నా పల్లె తల్లి వందనం, ననగన్న నేల వందనం, జన్మనిచ్చిన తల్లి వందనం, ఏ జన్మలో వీడని బంధనం. పల్లెకి పొరిమేల భూముల్లో పత్తి కాయ పెద్ద మనిషైతే, నీ మెత్తని వేళ్లతో ముద్దాడుతూ నీ మెత్తని వేళ్లతో ముద్దాడుతూ పత్తేర చెల్లెల వందనం, నా పల్లె తల్లి వందనం, ననగన్న నేల వందనం, జన్మనిచ్చిన నీకు వందనం, ఏ జన్మలో వీడని బంధనం.
రతనాల సీమలో రగులుతున్నది కరువురా ఈ సీమా, రాళ్ళ పాలైపోయేరా రాయలసీమ కన్నీటి పాలాయరా, రాయలేలిన నాటి రతనాల సీమలో రగులుతున్నది కరువురా ఈ సీమా, రాళ్ళ పాలైపోయరా రాయలసీమ కన్నీటి పాలాయరా, ఏటేట కరువులు వెంటాడి వేధిస్తే,
ఏటేట కరువులు వెంటాడి వేధిస్తే,
ఇన్నాళ్ళుగా పేద రైతు బ్రతుకీడ్చుతున్నాడు,
ఎన్నాళ్ళుగా పేద రైతు బతుకీడ్చుతున్నాడు,
కన్నదే తోచక రైతన్నా బిక్కుమంటున్నాడురా, రైతన్నా బిక్కుమంటున్నాడురా, రాయలేలిన నాటి రతనాల సీమలో రగులుతున్నది కరువురా ఈ సీమా, రాళ్ళ పాలైపోయరా రాయలసీమ కన్నీటి పాలాయరా.
దయచేసి కార్యక్రమం ప్రారంభం అవ్వగానే మీ సెల్ ఫోన్స్ అన్ని మధ్యాహ్నం సాంస్కృతిక కార్యక్రమాలు ఉంటాయి. ప్రతి ఒక్కరు అందులో పాల్గొనాల్సి ఉంటుంది.
చేసిన ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి మరొకసారి స్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం. ఓకే, మ్యూట్ చేసుకోవడం తెలియకపోతే దయచేసి చేతులు ఇవ్వకండి.
And the next few days are going to be wonderful days for us. We are going to hear so many experts. I would like to invite the main speakers and the dignitaries to the dais. I would like to invite Dr. Vandana Shiva. Vandana, please come. the dais. I'd like to invite Dr. Balachandra Ganeshan. Please come, sir. You're already here. I only wish that our very good friend and supporter, Bill Wallace, Mr. Mohan Kanda was IAS Secretary for Agriculture in Hyderabad, and Mohan very kindly gave us some money to print the book, as well as Father Barker of Miserior. With this sum, we were able to print the designer's manual. I think a couple of thousand copies which were distributed to agricultural departments in this country and to the universities. So after that, the movement was stabilized by the late Dr. Venkat, whose memory will always be green with us. But the real hero of permaculture development in this country is my very good friend Narsanna. Narsanna, please come and give a welcome, the host welcome. It is Narsanna who has made this event possible and is going to make the international convention, the international permaculture convention. He is bringing it to Hyderabad next year. It's Narsanna we should be listening to, and I hand the mic over to Narsanna. Narsanna, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to see the crowd here. I think it's amazing. I not even expected the permaculture practitioners and farmers and my well-wishers and press and all the delegates from different parts of the country. I'm welcoming you once again. Thank you so much for coming to this conference and convergence. I think this is a great day for me to see all of you after 30 years. That's what I wanted to share with you. So before that, I invite to the dais Mr. S.P. Chakkar, Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh. Please come on to the dais, sir. He is a great activist, national organic farming movement in India since so many years. Please come on to the dais. Issues, but it's a big issue always everywhere in Hyderabad and around the state. And Mr. Purushottam Reddy are also invited to the dais. Rights and land rights and struggles are many issues. He is part of that movement. I will invite Rukmini Rao also to the dais. Mr. Sir is here. Partha Sarathi Garu, Principal Secretary of Agriculture of Telangana State, please come on to the dais, sir. I once again I'll request all of you, the inaugural session, at the same time, the sessions will start about, as you know, related to you. So I request Mr. Vittal Rajan Garu, I think he is invited with 2 minutes, but I think he is the person who, since beginning in this permaculture movement, who invited to India Dr. Bill Mollison to India. I think he is the person behind all entire event of those in 1987. I think he is the person take to this permaculture in every corner and every field in this state particularly and around the country as well. I think is the person has to talk little bit about the Indian permaculture movement in India. Then we go ahead with our schedule. Thank you so much.
Friends, actually we would be better, time would be spent more worthwhile, in a worthwhile way listening to Narsanna. But Livelihood Foundation, which as you know is popularly known as the Alternative Nobel Prize, Vandana Shiva here, winner, of the Right Livelihood Award, the Alternative Nobel Prize, and so was Bill Mollison. Now, it was just a lucky chance that I met Bill Mollison when I was a staff member of the Right Livelihood Foundation, and I invited Bill along with a few other award winners to come to India. This was in the late 80s. And Bill came here, and we had, not to Hyderabad, I remember, but we had a very nice meeting in Bangalore at that time. And out of that grew a commitment on Bill's part to help India found its own permaculture association. So we formed that association. I was the chairman at that time. As I said, Dr. Venkat, the late Dr. Venkat, whose memory will always be green with us, he, along with Narsanna, actually grounded the movement in this country. And Bill was so generous that he gave us the bromides to print this book, the Permaculture Manual. Unfortunately, all I can say is that we printed about a couple of thousand copies, thanks to the generosity of Dr. Bakar of Miserior and the vision of Mohan Kanda, who was secretary, a very good secretary of agriculture in Hyderabad at that time. But I am not sure how many copies are still available, either with the university or with the departments of agriculture. I certainly have one copy still left. And I would request all of you to read today's Hindu. In the op-ed page, there is a very succinct article about the crisis this country is going through, a crisis born out of the fact that successive Indian governments have neglected agriculture, neglected small and marginal farmers, neglected dryland farming to a disastrous extent. Now, it is well known that unless the agricultural sector, unless agriculture in this country, on which directly and indirectly 80% of the people's livelihoods are dependent, unless something is done about reviving sustainable rural livelihoods, this country is going to face very difficult, if not perilous times. It is not sufficient to think of only corporate farming. It's not sufficient to think only of corporate business to pull the country out of inevitable economic and social difficulties unless organizations like this one, unless movements like the permaculture movement are supported in a large way by the public and the government, so that the livelihoods of small and marginal farmers and dryland farming, which still we are talking about 80% of the farmers on 50% of the cultivated land. Unless this is done, what is going to happen? We are now, it's a shameful feature that we are importing millions of tons of grain to feed the people for political reasons. It should be the Indian farmers who should be supported. Anyway, we have experts here, Vandana is here, all my colleagues here, far more about this. I am now in my 8th year, I have lost a bit of track of time. So I think enough said by me. I hand the mic over. Thank you, Narsanna, for thinking of me. I was there, a colleague of yours a long time ago, thinking of me. That's the kindness that you display and the permaculture movement. Thank you. I hand the mic over back to you.
This is the person who taken this movement to any extent in this country. I think today is not with us, but he is the person, Dr. Venkat, passed away in 2011, 25th August. But still, I think he is great mentor of all agriculture practices, all farmers and practitioners, and with the friends of who is talks about the alternative systems. I think is that whatever the contribution to this permaculture movement in India, I think ultimately that goes to the Dr. Venkat. I think in that light of this today the conference, I should say congrats and greetings from Arena Agriculture Alternatives. So, Aranya Agriculture Organization NGO working since 1999 in Andhra Pradesh. Now it's bifurcated 2 states in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So this was founded in 1999. Since then we are, as an organization, we are working on natural resource management. But still I have to say something before talk about convergence. However, these meetings are in the background of tragic loss of precious lives of many cotton farmers in Telangana, Maharashtra, tobacco farmers in Andhra Pradesh, and some red gram growers in Karnataka. Many causes and reasons are being attributed for the crisis. Whatever they be, it be indeed sad the very precious lives have been snuffed out. Today it is cotton and red gram, tomorrow it could be very, very many other crops because the factors are continue to operate in our agriculture. Could it be that there is something fundamentally and seriously wrong with our agriculture practices? The permaculture approach. The permaculture is one of the system where now today is in the world almost 122 countries are practicing in all parts of their countries and the world over, and this is the like spreading like movement in all over world except few countries. I think that is one of the information around the world. I think there exactly I wanted to share some of these countries pertaining to our Indian agriculture in my session. But it is based on 3 principles. That is, the permaculture is care of earth, care of people, and giving a surplus or fair share. Still, again, I wanted to, here in the particular, this event is a very unique. This first time with my old friends of all, from Vandana Shiva to Claude and Vital and everybody, those who are here, sir and others, friends, which I thought little differently. Let us be as a group, very inclusive. Though, whatever the practices we are doing and working with the communities, I think everybody is doing their best. I think let us come to a dash, to the tree cover in the village and on the farmlands. What is happening to the natural fertility of soils? Why is there an increase in pest and disease of our crops despite large scale of your pesticides? Why animal integration is not part of our agriculture? What is happening to the diversification of farming systems and seed of local indigenous land races? What is happening to the health and rural urban people and our animals and their grazing lands, the birds and their habitats? What is happening to the livelihood of the people of rural and the towns? What can be done to increase nutritional food security at local levels? This question is, can we do something, howsoever small, about these things? So Aranya Agriculture is working for small and marginal farmers at the same time the urban communities as well. It feels that not only we can do something, but also necessary to undertake some action to begin with. With this in view, the Aranya Agriculture Alternatives implores that we have a group of meeting, share our experiences, skills and talents and other resources towards some feasible activity for the common cause. Thank you so much. So, our invite, I think all of you know, Vandana ji is here today. I think is one of another marvelous day for everybody. I think she is the moment we are thinking about Vandana ji. Yesterday, I think both are here. The GM issue is going on, but still we are in how we look at this agriculture today. I think this is the roots of Indian agriculture and permaculture. I requested to Vandana ji to speak on this topic. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much.
amazing team of volunteers. Yet another proof that when people join together, they're a wonderful substitute for capital. Usually we are made to feel very poor for lack of capital, not realizing that at the end of the day, things work when people cooperate. And Vital, it's such a joy to be with you again. I remember, I think it must have been around 89, 88 maybe, I'd been invited to give the Schumacher lecture. The Schumacher College had not yet started, but Bill Mollison and I were the two speakers. Now, I wasn't supposed to be doing agriculture, but the Bhopal tragedy, and I've been told your group of friends really came out of the Bhopal tragedy. I threw myself into this deeper work on agriculture with the Bhopal tragedy and the rise of violence in Punjab. And Punjab is a very good example of how you can totally ruin a prosperous society, rich ecosystems with the wrong model of farming. Today Punjab soils are dead, the rivers are dying, the water's disappearing, farmers have cancer, they travel in a cancer train to Bikaner, and as they say to us, and our soils have cancer. I remember once when the first early suicide started, I was taken to a village and everyone who was moving was carrying spray. One had a very big tank, one had sprays on bicycle, and I asked them, I said, "Do you know what you're carrying?" They said, "Yes, medicine, dawai." I said, "No, it's poison." And I read out. They said, "But we don't read English." And then the old man said, "Oh, now I understand why our mango trees are not fruiting anymore, because the pollinators were gone." And the young man who was taking it in a cycle said, "Oh, this is why I get so dizzy after I spray, and I must lie down for 2-3 hours when I get home." They've been so misled into thinking these poisons are medicines. And now 75% of the youth of Punjab are on drugs because everything is so hopeless. The next election of Punjab will be fought on these issues. So here was Bill, who had inspired the permaculture movement, and he gave his lecture on the financial crisis. And here was me, who done a background in quantum theory, done my work in CHIPCO, and I was talking agriculture. Nature's ecosystems and social ecosystems. We need the politics of permanence. For me, democracy is a politics of permanence. Because in democracy you can correct unstable tendencies. Permanence means you have homeostasis. You can come back from an unstable thing to a stable level. And the capacity lies in the system itself, in the plant, in the soil, in the human being, in the farmer, in the village community. It is also called resilience. It is also called adaptation. This resilience, this adaptation is what we need to build. But the most important thing is, I think we have wonderful visions from amazing visionaries like Bill Mollison, like Alfred Howard, all the people who've given years. We were just counting 35 years of friendship between those of us who have rejuvenated the ecological agriculture movement in this country. So on the one side you have brute laws, dishonest governance, secrecy in decision making, violation of every constitutional obligation, and on the other side you have an upholding of this amazing civilization of permanence, celebration of its diversity, and a commitment that we will not let our soils, our biodiversity, our water be ruined. We will not allow our farmers to be pushed to suicide. We will not allow our children to live lives of a diseased future. The future is in our hands, and that future we will shape on the terms of living earth, living communities, living democracy. Thank you.
Yeah, if you look at the whole, I remember still the M.K. Munshi. He was the first agriculture minister. He talked about watershed also. I think it's almost 60 years back. He realized what is the importance of India, how the crisis is going to face with water. I think 60 years back he realized his first word he used is soil and the water is very, very important factors you have to handle carefully. Thank you so much. After a long time I heard another great personality from government side, but it is very visionary. So now I request SP Thakkar Garu can address his the servers not there actually, just like neck of the moment, last hours some of contractors are ready to come. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
At a short notice, I rushed here and then I have to rush back from here. A few comments. This year we are doing 3,50,000 farm ponds in Andhra Pradesh, worth 2,500 crores under NREGS. In addition to 1 lakh water harvesting structures which we are trying to do. Day before yesterday we have decided permaculture will be a major input for us. It has been decided in our cabinet. And we have requested Government of India to give us a pilot where vermicompost will be valued equal to NPK and subsidy will be given for that. So we get into coming back to what we are trying to do, how we are trying to do. Tomorrow we have a speaker in Ramchandra coming here, and I was telling Rukmini just now. On 1st March we are launching 1,000 farmer producer organizations. We are keeping this network outside government so that it can sustain. Bureaucrats will not meddle with it in the long run. We've done it already earlier. Vasan was created like that. AP Mass was created like that. This year our agriculture sector growth is 33%. 5% it was last year. So we are aware that inclusive growth, if it has to happen to primary sector or the agriculture sector. There are issues, yes, we are trying to address them. There are things which need to be done in a big way. So my offer, Narsana has been working with me for a very, very long time. In fact, he took one Nizam Sagar Water Users Association where he had only 2 TMC of water. Normally 2 TMC of water gives us around 15,000-17,000 acres of irrigation. And that year he did 1,20,000 acres with 2 TMC of water. And it was unprecedented. Then he created a farmers organization around that. They do their own trading of all commodities and input and output management. We are looking for these initiatives. We want them to grow. Because in government systems are not permanent, so things change. We talk about scale, quality goes down. But the question is, can we create institutions which are people's institutions, representatives institutions, and we keep them outside the government? So in case of farmer producer organization, we think that if supply chain management happens, farmers become the consultants for us and they move around and guide everyone, and we provide resources for that. Is the model which we have tried in the last 7 to 8 years, succeeded to a great extent, and now we are trying to bring it to farmer producer organizations. We think that there are about 50 lakh surviving farmers will be there, and about 1 crore self-help women are there in Andhra Pradesh. They will be organized around whatever they are producing, whether it's MSME or milk or anything else. To begin with, we are talking about this 1,000 number. It's not a target because it's been going on for a long time. We are only trying to consolidate that and create an institutional space around that. We are keeping 300 crores and outside the government 300 crores for management by the network. Hopefully it will work out, because whatever we tried on similar lines in the past 20 years, it has worked out. Those organizations are coming out. Communication standards have improved a lot. It's a disruptive change which is happening, and it must happen. So there is no other way. We cannot run the government, we cannot run the society the way it's being run. It has to all change. All of you have a role into that. Narsana is my contact here. Anything required, anytime you want to start, you want to join us. We are having almost all kinds of initiatives. When we are starting these farmer producer organizations, we are not trying to standardize the model, we are not trying to standardize the methods. We are encouraging any model, any initiative which has come, and we are going to say that we will support it. If farmer producer organizations are already working, user groups are already working, we are trying to say that at Vasan level, we will keep the help of consultants, progressive farmers to work out on it. I did Water Users Association. I used to read Ms. Vandana's article that time. We fought World Bank. We did not want a right to be created around water the way it was done in Maharashtra. We had a bitter fight and we came out successfully, and we said water is a common property, water is a fundamental right. And because of that, World Bank has removed this concept of water regulatory authority from India. We had a big fight with them and finally we succeeded. The question is, how do we make it all sustainable and work out around it? So my request, come and work with us in Andhra Pradesh, work in Telangana also. Most of my postings were in Telangana before I shifted to the bifurcated state Andhra Pradesh, and we'll work together. Thank you. It's okay, thank you.
It's a great pleasure and very interesting to announce. This is always in touch with farmers, and whatever the help we need, and we can directly approach and we can access to anybody. Thank you so much, sir. So now I request Mr. Parth Sarathi Garu, Principal Secretary of Telangana. Sir, Mr. Balchandra Garu, please come and radio yourself.
The audience and members on the dais, I must particularly thank my old friend. He said he's 80, but he's very young, but he was the one who put me in touch with Dr. Narsana, and that's why I'm here. So let me go back. Like Vandana was saying, she was into quantum theory and doing other things. I was a banker on Wall Street. Now, yeah, I was a self-reformed in some sense, because after 10 years, I decided the tropical jungle was of greater interest to me. But if you had asked me at that time, I'm just maybe doing a play acting or a role acting. If you had asked me at that time, I might have thought permaculture, the two words, if you break it up, I would have said, okay, from a Western point of view, that's permafrost, a Western notion, and then a culture would be a petri dish. You could get genes and molecules and whatever, you could come up with new high-yielding varieties perhaps. But in any case, it's many years since that time, and I'm sure more people are beginning to realize the importance of sustainability, and this is an overused word, perhaps not sustainable, but there are limits to growth. I mean, we don't talk about human population growth. Ultimately, a consumer demand. It's not for us, the white collars or the beige collars or whatever. We are not preachers. We need to be practitioners as well. What are the practical aspects, as the Chief Secretary said? Yes, we need to point out mistakes that have happened, but how do we learn from those mistakes and not repeat them? So when Narsana asked me to talk about something, and I come from a deep interest in science and a research background and a donor perspective as well, what might work? So I was going to talk about small-scale agriculture, poverty alleviation, and biodiversity conservation. All these three are linked. And in fact, I had an image for many of the marginal small farmers to off-farm employment. We can't just wish them away and leave it to themselves. They will then migrate, create other social issues for themselves and in cities. So, in summary, small-scale farming can contribute to biodiversity conservation, while local ecosystems can support agriculture and poverty reduction. Policy should treat the above three elements as linked aspects of a healthy, multifunctional production landscape. Again, we are not talking of sectoral approaches anymore. We are talking about convergence. I've heard different points of view, perhaps all converging, improved coordination amongst government agencies as well as civil society, groups like what Narsana is trying to do. And of course, mention was also made about CSR. CSR needs, I think it's still in early days, how does one channel some of these resources? And finally, national agricultural research should specifically target small-scale agriculture, and many of the models that have been tried out I think those should be taken up for further research and scaling up. Thank you.
Much. Now, our Principal Secretary Parsardi Garu will address the Convergence audience and just you give your suggestions as far as the agriculture is concerned, sir.
So good morning everybody. I think we have come to the end of inaugural session. Everybody must be waiting for tea session. So bear me for 5 minutes more or 10 minutes more if you agree. Yes. I convey my best wishes to all the participants who have not only come from different states of India. I find a lot of permaculturists, practitioners from various other countries also, they are participating in the convention. Such a tremendous response. I recognize the presence of Vandana ji. When I listen to her lecture, speech, whatever you call it, she looks like a Raquel Carson of Silent Spring. So we are recollecting 1962 book, Silent Spring. Fight against DDT. Anyway, we recollect her biopiracy, her fight against IPR rights, WTO issues, and very, very important Navadhanya, the diversity for which she has been. I also recognize presence of various permaculturists, practitioners. By and large, I find only practitioners here. It's amazing convention. So much response. When Narsana first came to me that he is holding a national convention, I was just inquiring who are participating. He told me from these two states, about 200-300 will come, and other states also, another 200-300 will come. Now it looks like a 800-900 convention. Let us give a big hand to Narsana Garu and his life partner Padma Garu. Being representative of government of Telangana, let me proudly say that Narsana Garu belongs to a backward district of Telangana, Adilabad district. I think he is from Khanapur area. And I'm very glad to know that his stature is so much in the field of permaculture. He has been working in this field in the last 2.5 decades. Everywhere I feel that we are living in era of alternatives, rightly named by him, agriculture alternatives. We are discussing of alternatives by and large in every subject now. If you take health sector, we are talking about alternative medicine. We got tired of those modern medicines, the antibiotics. Instead of saving people, they started killing people, isn't it? So we are thinking of alternate medicines, looking for alternate medicinal systems. Even if you take our own education field, we are also tired of the system. They have become, factories of, who are just churning students and degrees, examination oriented. There is no scope for much creativity. So we are fed up with our education system and looking for alternative educational models. In the entire government sector now discussion is going on. What are the alternate education models which will increase the, which will give scope for creativity. Anyway, rightly this convention is here in Telangana. The context also is very, very clear. This will send across a clear-cut message to all our farmers. The crisis which the agriculture sector of Telangana is undergoing now, I think this is one occasion for us to get into the roots of the problem of Telangana belt. The distinguished speakers have been mentioning about Telangana, Vidarbha, and these parts where crisis in agriculture is looming large. The fight has been continuously going on between, development versus environment. The challenge before all of us is how to find this balance. We need a development. We need, huge food grain production for our growing population. We want food security. We want nutritional security. We want a good production of pulses, oil seeds. We should not import. The population is growing, and we have to balance, and we have to do everything respecting nature, in harmony with the nature, whatever names you call it, whether it is ecological agriculture, nature farming, organic farming. Recently I had been to Gangtok, the national convention, where our Prime Minister has declared Sikkim as first organic state in the country. They are fortunate. I was just going around, the Sikkim state. I felt that the whole state is in the lap of nature.
And I approached, sir, I think, not sure how many people are you are inviting. So I'm expecting some 600, sir, maximum 700. What is the capacity of your auditorium? I said 1,000. No, nothing doing. The entire 1,000 should be filled. I will talk to other officers. I think he lifted phone and he called everybody. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So sir is very supportive. Thank you so much, sir, once again. So now we are going to sow a seed or many seeds. What is the seed? You should know. So we are going to, most of the convergence conference will light the lamp, but today we are sowing the seed. So that is a, now all, and now I invite Sultan Ismailji. Ismailji, please come onto the dais. So, please all who chaired the dais, please each one of you sow some seeds. All the, now year after we are talking about not just seeds, we are talking them as a land races. Almost all, we have 48 varieties are here. 48, 22 is the pulse varieties. I thought that is the seeds we are going to seed. So in the soil is there are different soils are there. What are the soils of these parts of the country we brought, and we mixed it, mixed soil, mixed seeds and mixed sowing. All of you are participate in that sowing the seed ceremony. Thank you so much, sir. Please, all of you.
If there are any children in the audience, Raghava's daughter, I believe, is here, and they've got some seeds from their farm. I would love for them to come and join in and represent the next generation that is taking over. I think we have the youngest permaculture student here is if Raya and Triyam. If he's just about a year and a half old, and he's basically been in Zairabad and Adilabad growing up in here. If he's here in the room, I would love for him to come on board. And while the ceremony is going on, I just have some few housekeeping items. The sessions, there are 4 sessions that are going to start at 12 noon sharp. So 12 noon sharp, 4 sessions will start. This is one of the halls and there are 3 other halls. So I would request all the participants to come back into the halls. There is a huge demo area behind the dining area where right now a lot of cars are being parked. So any of you, if you've parked...
still.
స్వచ్ఛనే లక్ష్మి సోపుతోని స్వచ్ఛ మన పెద్దింట్లో గద్దె మీద కూర్చొని అవతారం ఎత్తనే వాది లక్ష్మి జయమంగళం సత్యశివమంగళం జయమంగళం సత్యశివమంగళం.
Telugu, but I will also speak. Okay, does anybody here understand Telugu? మిగతా రాష్ట్రాల నుంచి ఎవరెవరు ఉన్నారు ఒకసారి మీకు కూడా స్వాగతం. అందరికీ ఇక్కడ ఈరోజు భూతల్లి నిజం ఈరోజు ఏడుస్తుంది. పుదన కూడా మీరు ఎంతమంది మీకు అర్థమైందో లేదో కానీ చాలా చర్చలు పుదన మొత్తం ఈ భూతల్లి ఎట్లా ఉన్నాము. ఒకవైపు వ్యవసాయం సంక్షోభం, కానీ ఆ వ్యవసాయం సంక్షోభం ఎందుకు ఉంది? మనకి వ్యవసాయం సంక్షోభంకి ఒక పరిష్కారం దొరకదు. What I am arguing is that if we do not look at the crisis in agriculture along with the crisis with food, we are never going to find a solution or an answer or be able to get out from this current crisis we're in. నేను ట్రైనింగ్ తో నేను ఒక పశు డాక్టర్. ఒక 20 సంవత్సరాలు 25 సంవత్సరాలు నేను చాలా గ్రామాలు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తెలంగాణలో రైతులతో నేను పనిచేశాను. ఈరోజు మీ అందరితో నేను ఒక సంఘటన తరఫు నుంచి నేను వచ్చాను. ఆహార సార్వభౌమత్వ సంఘటన మా సంఘటన పేరు. I'm here representing and coming from an alliance known as the Food Sovereignty Alliance. By training, I have been a veterinary doctor for the last 25 years of my life. రకరకాల ఉద్యమాలు కలిసి మేము ఆహార సార్వభౌమత్వం కోసం మేము ఒక ఉద్యమంలో మేము పని చేస్తున్నాము. మన సంఘటనలో దళిత ఉద్యమాలు ఉన్నాయి, ఆదివాసీ ఉద్యమాలు, చాలా మంది మేకలు గొర్రెలు మేసే పెంపకదారులు ఉన్నారు. ఇంకా చాలా మంది ఈ రోజు ఉత్పత్తిలో లేరు, కానీ వాళ్ళు కూడా ఈ రోజు ఈ తిండి వ్యవసాయ సంక్షోభంలో చాలా ఆలోచనలో ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళు కూడా ఈ ఉద్యమంలో కలిసి ఉన్నారు. మన సంఘటనలో వాళ్ళని మేము కన్స్యూమర్స్ ని మేము పిలవము, సహ ఉత్పత్తిదారుల్ని పిలుస్తాము. అంటే ఉత్పత్తి చేసిన వాళ్ళతో తోడుగా సహ ఉత్పత్తిదారులు కూడా ఈ ఉద్యమంలో ముందుకి వస్తే మాత్రం ఏదైనా మార్పు ఈ సంక్షోభం నుంచి మేము బయట రాగలుగుతాము. Our alliance is an alliance which brings together different movements who have a central concern over who is controlling today the food and agriculture systems of the world. And in the alliance we have Dalit movements, we have Adivasi or the indigenous people of India, indigenous people's movements, there are shepherds and pastoralists, there are small and marginal farmers representing the Dalit Bahujan castes and communities of our country, and we also have a constituency which we in our movement call co-producers. We do not like the term consumers because consumers alienates you from a process of action and change and transformation. And as co-producers, you work in alliance with, in solidarity with, and you equally have a stake in what kind of future we want to build.
అనే 2, 3 వాళ్ళు చేయలేరుతున్నారు. ఎక్కువ శాతం ఏం జరుగుతుంది ఈరోజు, పండించి మేము అమ్ముతాము, తిరిగి మేము డబ్బు పెట్టి పడుతున్నాం. ఇది చాలా గమ్మత్తైన విషయం. పండించింది తిని ఏదైనా మిగిలితే మేము అమ్మేద్దాం, ఆ ఒక పరిస్థితి మొత్తానికి. సార్వభౌమత్వం అర్థం ఏంటంటే మనము ప్రజలం, పౌరులు మనమే నిర్ణయం చేయగలుగుతాము. మనం ఏం పండిస్తాము, మనం ఏం తింటాము, మనం ఎక్కడ అమ్ముతాము, మన మార్కెట్ మీద ఏ విధంగా, భూమి ఎవరి చేతిలో ఉంది, ఇటువంటి నిర్ణయాలు, అధికారం అది తిరిగి ప్రజల చేతిలోకి రావాలి. కానీ ఈ రోజు ఆ అధికారం ప్రజల చేతుల నుంచి పోయింది, అది లేనేలేదు. When we talk about food sovereignty, we're talking about the structures of power and control. Where and who and how are decisions being taken about what we will grow, what kind of food we will eat, what kind of agriculture we will do.
And it is about
changing a system where today power and control of our food and agriculture systems is located completely out of our community control. So దీన్ని మనం మార్చుకోవాలి అంటే మన ఉద్యమంలో చాలా సింపుల్ గా 2 రకాలు మేము చూస్తున్నాం. ఒక రకమైన జీవితం, మనమందరం దేనికోసం మేము ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నాము, ఒక మంచి జీవితం కోసం, ఒక సామాజిక న్యాయం కోసం, వాటి కోసం మేము ఉన్నాము. ఒక మంచి జీవితం కోసం చూసుకోవాలి అంటే 2 మార్గాలు ఉన్నాయి. పొద్దున ఏదైనా మేము విన్నాము, వందనా శివ గారు చాలా వివరంగా ఆమె వివరించింది. అది మొత్తం ఒక జీవితం సంరక్షించిన ఒక ఉద్దేశం కాదు, అదే ఒక బతుకు తెరువు కోసం కాదు. అదే ఏం జరుగుతుంది, అది చనిపోయే కోసం. అంటే ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ డెత్ అంటాం. ఎక్కడ చూస్తే జీవం లేదు, ఆత్మహత్య జరుగుతున్నాయి, తిండి లేదు, భూతల్లి మొత్తం.
అప్పుడు అందరూ కలిసి దాన్ని కాపాడుకోవటం పనిలో ఉండేము. అవి కూడా అక్కడక్కడ కొన్ని బుక్కి వెళ్ళిపోతాయి. రెండోది, ఎప్పుడు మన గ్రామం దగ్గర కొన్ని చోట్ల ఉండే, కొంచెం అడవిలాల చోట, కొన్ని ఉమ్మడి చోట్ల, అవునా, అట్లా ఉండే. ఈరోజు ఉందా? ఉమ్మడి భూములు 1 to Z, A to Z మొత్తం కథం అయిపోయింది. ఎవరు కథం చేశారు? మనం చేశామా? లేవు. ప్రభుత్వం చేసింది. ప్రభుత్వం మొత్తం ఉమ్మడి భూముల్ని తీసుకొని 2 రోజులు జరిగినాయి. సో నేనేమంటున్నా, ఇప్పుడు టైం కూడా నేను చూస్తున్నాను, ఆర్గనైజర్స్ టైం. సో అన్నలు అక్కలు, ఈ ప్రశ్న చాలా ముఖ్యమైనవి. కొన్ని విషయాలు మనం కలిసి కూర్చొని దీన్ని చంపటం నేను అనుకుంటాను మార్గం కాదు. చంపటం మార్గం, మళ్ళీ మేము చంపటం దారిలో ఒక భాగస్వామి అయిపోతాం. చంపటం ఎక్కడ అవసరం ఉంటే నిజం ఈ విషయం కూడా చంపటం ఒక చర్చ చేయాలి మనం. ఎందుకంటే ఈరోజు ఉదాహరణకి అడవి పందుల గురించి పెద్ద చర్చ జరుగుతున్నది. ఎక్కడో ఒక రాష్ట్రంలో ఇప్పుడు అడవి పందుల్ని చంపడానికి ఒక కర్ణాటకలో తెలంగాణలో కదా ఇప్పుడు అడవి పందుల్ని అట్లా ఒక చర్చ వచ్చింది. సో పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే జీవంని, ఒక జీవం చంపేయటం మార్గం నేను అనుకుంటాను అక్కడ కూడా. ఎందుకంటే ఒక ఆదివాసి, ఉదాహరణకి ఆదివాసీ ప్రజలు ఖచ్చితంగా అడవికి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు ఖచ్చితంగా వాళ్ళు వేటకి వెళ్ళరు. ప్లీజ్ అర్థం చేసుకో. రోజు ఒక ఆదివాసి ఎప్పుడు వేట చేయరు, సమయంకి వేట చేస్తారు. అంతే కదా. ఇక్కడ ఆదివాసులు ఉన్నారా? మన గోండు మా అక్కలు అన్నలు ఉన్నారు ఇక్కడ. గోండు ఆదివాసులు, కొలం ఆదివాసులు. మనకి తెలుసు ఒక చక్రంలో, ఒక జీవిత చక్రంలో ఎప్పుడు మేము రోజు 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 చంపటం ఏం జరగదు, వేట జరగదు. వేట దాని సమయంలో జరుగుతుంది. కానీ మన వ్యవస్థ ఏంటి, మన వనరులు ఏంటి, మనం ఎటువంటి వ్యవసాయం చేస్తున్నాం, కొన్ని మార్పులు మనమే చెయ్యాలి. ఖచ్చితంగా నా ఊర్లో 100 మంది కుటుంబాలు కలిసి జొన్నలు, తైదలు, ఇవి అవి అన్ని రకాల మేము పండిస్తే ఆ పాపం ఆ కోతి అక్కడక్కడ బుక్కి వెళ్ళిపోతాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది, అందరూ నా జొన్నల మీద పడినాయి. ఓకే, సో విషయం ఏంటంటే చాలా మార్పు జరగాలి. ఆ మార్పులో మేము ఉంటామా లేకపోతే మేము బతుకు మార్పులో ఉంటామా లేకపోతే చంపటం మార్పులో ఉంటామా? ఇదే మా ముందు ప్రశ్న. బతుకు మార్పులు ఉంటామంటే మళ్ళీ చర్చ పెడదాం. మళ్ళీ కోతి విషయం గురించి ఇంకా చాలా విషయాల గురించి మాట్లాడదాం. అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలు.
I would like to take you through a journey on soils. I have been working on soils since 1978. We started our research on earthworms for this country, and have been working consistently on these parameters. So I would like to take you just through a general journey. I want to talk about living soils. Sarji, living soils.
Yeah. సజీవమైన నేల.
We all know that cell is the fundamental unit of life.
Should I do it?
Yeah, I'll give a small sentence. It will be easier for you. Go ahead.
జీవానికి అతి సూక్ష్మమైన అతి చిన్నటి యూనిట్ సెల్ అంటే కణం.
Yeah, the problem is we have given too much importance to this cell. So if you have it with you, put it on a silent mode. Yeah. Because as a teacher, when the bell rings, I'm supposed to stop it. What is soil?
భూమి అంటే, ఈ నేల అంటే ఏమిటి?
Soil is food.
సాయిల్ అంటే నేల అంటే ఆహారం.
It includes the most important constituents being soil, water, air and sunlight.
నీరు, నేల, వాటర్,
సన్లైట్, ఎయిర్, సన్లైట్.
నేల, నీరు, గాలి, ఈ మూడు ముఖ్యమైన అంశాలు.
In Panchabuddhas we include
సూర్యరశ్మి.
In Panchabuddhas we include the 5. The problem starts right from day one in schools where we classify living from non-living. Right from schools we classify it as living and non-living.
మనం స్కూల్స్ అంటే పాఠశాలల నుంచి సజీవము నిర్జీవం లాగా మనం డివైడ్ చేస్తూ అంటే 2 రకాలుగా చూస్తున్నాం.
We tell air as non-living.
గాలిని మనము నిర్జీవాంశంగా పరిగణిస్తాం, అంటే దానికి ప్రాణం లేదని అనుకుంటాం.
We call ourselves living.
మనమేమో సజీవంగా మనం భావిస్తున్నాం.
But when you remove the non-living air from our body,
మన శరీరంలోంచి నిర్జీవమైన గాలిని తీసేస్తే
we become non-living.
మనమే నిర్జీవంగా మారిపోతాం.
This we don't teach our children.
ఇది మనం నేర్చుకోము.
Water is non-living.
నీళ్లు దానికి ప్రాణం లేదు.
We are living.
మనకు ప్రాణం ఉంది.
Remove non-living air, non-living water from our... Can I use your name? Yes. Jyoti. Jyoti says that she uses air for breathing.
జ్యోతి గారు అంటున్నారు ఏంటంటే ఆమెకు గాలి ఎందుకు కావాలంటే శ్వాస తీసుకోవడానికి కావాలి.
Sir, this common answer, I don't know. Period subject, I don't know. Now, Jyoti says air is for breathing. Jyoti had your lunch? Jyoti had her lunch.
ఆమె భోజనం చేసింది.
You had rice, everything over there. So, Jyoti had rice for lunch.
భోజనానికి ఈరోజు ఆమె అంటే అన్నం తినింది.
Now, this rice, does it have more amount of protein or more amount of carbohydrate or more amount of fat? Carbohydrate. So, Jyoti logically had carbohydrate for lunch. You all agree? Fine. Carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So, Jyoti had carbon, hydrogen, oxygen for lunch. Where do you normally find carbon, hydrogen, oxygen? So, what did Jyoti have for lunch? And use for breathing. Please understand, participants, the same air we breathe is the same air we eat. Same air we breathe is the same air we eat.
మనం మీకు గాలి ఎందుకు కావాలంటే శ్వాస తీసుకోవడానికి కోసం అని చెప్తాం. మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు ఒకరిని అడిగారు, జ్యోతి గారిని అడిగారు, మీరు భోజనం ఏం చేశారంటే అన్నం తిన్నాను అన్నారు. అన్నం తిన్నారు. అన్నం దేంతో ఉంది? అన్నంలో ఉంది కార్బోహైడ్రేట్ ఉంది. కార్బోహైడ్రేట్లు ఏముంది? కార్బన్, హైడ్రోజన్, ఆక్సిజన్. అంటే ఆమె ఆక్సిజన్ తీసుకుంది. మళ్ళీ ముందు అడిగితేనేమో గాలి ఎందుకు కావాలి అని అంటే శ్వాస తీసుకోవడన్నారు. కానీ నిజానికి అయితే గాలి ఎందుకు కావాల్సి వచ్చిందని తినడానికి కావాల్సి వచ్చింది. అంటే మనం ఏదైతే శ్వాసిస్తున్నామో దాన్ని మనం తింటున్నాం కూడా, అదే ఆక్సిజన్.
Now, all plants do it. All plants do it. Some plants we eat. The plants we eat, we call it as food.
అన్ని చెట్లు శ్వాసిస్తాయి. అయితే వాటిలో కొన్ని చెట్లను మనం తింటాం, కొన్ని ఆకుల్ని మనం తింటాం. వాటినే మనం ఆహారం అని అంటున్నాం.
Now, if you take this soil, one handful of soil has billions of microorganisms.
ఒక పిడికెడు మట్టిని తీసుకుంటే దాంట్లో బిలియన్స్ కొద్ది, లక్షల కొద్ది సూక్ష్మజీవులు ఉంటాయి.
You would all heard about soil smell, soil aroma, mitti ki khushbu, man vasana, matti vasana. Have you heard about it?
మనం మట్టి వాసన గురించి మాట్లాడుతుంటాం. వాన పడ్డప్పుడు వచ్చే మట్టి వాసన గురించి చెప్తాం.
Does soil have smell? Matti vasana undo? Yes, absolutely no.
మరి మట్టికి వాసన ఉందా?
No vasana.
నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే మట్టికి వాసన లేదు.
You take matti, dry it in the hot sun for 2 days, smell it, no vasana.
మట్టిని తీసుకొని ఒక 2 రోజులు ఎండబెట్టండి, తర్వాత వాసన చూడండి, దానికి ఏ వాసన ఉండదు.
Rain comes, it comes, no? I must send you all to school again. Teacher told us water is colorless, tasteless, odorless. So water has no smell.
I missed it, sir.
Water has no smell.
Water has
no smell.
నీటికి వాసన లేదు.
మట్టికి వాసన లేదు, నీటికి వాసన లేదు.
నీటికి వాసన లేదు.
బట్ మట్టి వాసన ఉంది.
కానీ మట్టికి వాసన ఉంది అంటున్నాం మనం.
That is because not of the soil, but because of the soil organisms which live in the soil.
ఎందుకంటే మట్టిలో ఉన్న సూక్ష్మ జీవుల వల్ల దానికి ఆ వాసన వచ్చింది తప్ప మట్టికి సహజంగా వాసన లేదు.
Especially actinomycetes.
ప్రత్యేకించి మైసెట్స్.
Plus soil also forms a beautiful filter system for us.
ఈ మట్టి వాటిని ఫిల్టర్ చేయడానికి ఒక అద్భుతమైన వ్యవస్థను క్రియేట్ చేసుకుని ఉంది.
And also stores a lot of carbon.
Yeah, please.
What happened?
She is
translating.
Yeah. I have some problem.
No issues.
I was not very technical. I'm sorry. Was it technical? No, it's okay. Perfect. Okay.
నంబర్లు, అంకెలు. లాజీ అంటే ఒక స్టడీ అంటే విద్య.
Today both of them are clashing with each other. That is where we are facing the problem.
ఈ రోజు ఈ రెండిటికి కూడా ఒకలాంటి యుద్ధం జరుగుతోంది. అందుకనే ఈ రోజు ఇంత పెద్ద సమస్యల్లో ఉన్నాం మనం.
Something burns, and what burns is ecology.
ఈ రెండిటి మధ్య జరుగుతున్నటువంటి అంతర్యుద్ధం వల్ల వస్తున్నది
ఈ ప్రకృతి వ్యవస్థ అనేది పూర్తిగా నాశనం అయిపోతుంది.
Biodiversity. Bio means life, diversity means variety.
బయో అంటే జీవితం, డైవర్సిటీ అంటే వివిధత,
தமிழ்ல பல்லுயிர்னு சொல்லுவோம்.
వైవిధ్యం.
And we India, we are very, very rich in biodiversity.
భారతదేశంలో జీవ వైవిధ్యం అనేది చాలా అత్యధికంగా ఉంది అన్ని దేశాల కన్నా కూడా.
We have lots of varieties of microorganisms in our soils.
మన దేశంలోని మట్టిలో కొన్ని అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి సూక్ష్మజీవులు ఉన్నాయి.
We have varieties of earthworms in our soils.
అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి వానపాములు ఉన్నాయి.
The world there are 3,500 species average.
మొత్తం ప్రపంచంలో 3,500 రకాల వానపాములు ఉన్నాయి.
India alone has more than 510 species.
భారతదేశంలో 510 రకాల వానపాములు ఉన్నాయి.
More about earthworms will be tomorrow in regeneration methods the same time.
రేపు మధ్యాహ్నం ఇదే సమయానికి ఈ వానపాముల్ని పెంపొందించే వ్యవస్థ గురించి మనం మాట్లాడుకుందాం సార్ లెక్చర్లో.
We have lovely flowers.
Okay.
They want to see her, is it? Yeah. At least you be there. No, I never go on stage. I'm a teacher. You better be on stage. Yeah. We have lovely flowers. Only thing is they'll be surprised how does a male voice come for the speaker. Yeah. There'll be lovely flowers. We have beautiful birds.
మన దగ్గర రకరకాల పూలు అలాగే అందమైన పక్షులు ఉన్నాయి.
We have magnificent animals.
అద్భుతమైనటువంటి జీవరాశి ఉంది.
And then we have diversity of vegetables.
అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి కూరగాయలు మనకు కనిపిస్తుంటాయి మన దేశంలో.
Even in one variety you have several sub varieties. Like you take tomato, ummi gives, taudu gives, all the varieties, so they develop microorganisms.
అదే భారతదేశంలో ఉన్న రైతులు మాత్రము అది జెర్సీ ఆవు అయినా సరే దాన్ని బయట కంచెలకు తీసుకెళ్లి మేపుతారు కాబట్టి దానికి స్వతహాగానే దాని పెంట ఎరువులో కూడా సూక్ష్మజీవులు ఉంటాయి. అంతేకాకుండా వాటికి అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి పంటలని తినిపిస్తారు, ఉదాహరణకి పల్లీలు అలాంటివి.
But our basic cow is far superior to this cow. That I agree. But in case you already have this, don't go upset about it. This is what I want to tell.
సార్ చెప్తున్నది ఏంటంటే దేశవాళీ ఆవే అన్నిటికన్నా శ్రేష్టమైనది, మన దేశీ ఆవే అన్నిటికన్నా శ్రేష్టమైనది వ్యవసాయ పరంగా.
It doesn't require an air conditioner.
దానికి ఎయిర్ కండిషనింగ్ అవసరం లేదు. కానీ ఒకవేళ మీ దగ్గర ఆల్రెడీ జెర్సీ ఆవులు ఉన్నా కూడా మీరు దాని గురించి చింతించద్దు.
Here afterwards when you buy Indian cows. That's always.
మళ్ళీ సార్ వచ్చేసారి కొనుక్కునేటప్పుడు దేశవాళీ ఆవును కొనుక్కోండి.
That is our friend Bos Vivalis, the third variety, buffalo.
ఇప్పుడు మూడో రకం పశువుల గురించి మనం మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నాం. దీని పేరు బాస్ వివాలిస్, అంటే మనకందరికీ తెలుసు బర్రెలు.
They are all our local varieties, especially from Tamil Nadu.
ఇవి మన స్థానికమైనటువంటి పశువులు, తమిళనాడు నుంచి వచ్చేవి. కానీ ఇవి కూడా these are cow.
Umblacheri and Vembur. Yeah, Umblacheri is cattle, cow, and Vembur is sheep.
Okay.
Similarly with poultry farming.
ఈ కోళ్ల పెంపకంలో కూడా ఇదే విధంగా జరుగుతోంది.
We started using so much of poultry farm nowadays.
మనము బ్రాయిలర్ చికెన్ ని బాగా పెంచుతున్నాము, అది కూడా షెడ్లలో పెట్టి. ఓకే, సారీ.
Right. We had so many varieties.
మన దగ్గర అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి నాటు కోళ్ళు ఉండేవి.
Now here also we have developed apartheid.
ఇక్కడ కూడా మనకి
and we all want only white leg.
మనకన్నిటికీ మనవి రంగు కోళ్ళు నచ్చక తెల్లకోడి కావాలని తెల్లకోడి వెంటబడుతున్నాం.
Fine. Even among fish we have become selective.
ఇప్పుడు చేపలలో కూడా రకాల్లో మనం మళ్ళీ సెలెక్షన్ అంటే కొన్నిటినే ప్రోత్సహిస్తున్నాం.
We are concentrating only on these three varieties.
I don't know what they are called in Telugu.
They are called as Katla, Rohu, Mrigal, same name.
జరిగే నష్టం ఏంటి అనేది చెప్తున్నారు.
If you want you can say I am a very rich lady.
I am not.
But you have to be quick, otherwise he has to give a special time to live the story. No, you sit down, you don't get upset. You are coming only at 4 o'clock. So what will happen? Biodiversity will fight with biotechnology. Kindly watch the screen for a short thing here. Biodiversity will create all the noises, judo, karate. Biotechnology will shut it down.
మనకి
This is what will happen.
బీటీ విత్తనాల వల్ల జరిగేటువంటి నష్టం, ముఖ్యమైన నష్టం, మన జీవ వైవిధ్యం అనేది పూర్తిగా నశించిపోతుంది. అది దీంట్లో ఉన్నటువంటి సారాంశం. మనం జీవ వైవిధ్యం అనేక విధాలుగా పోరాడచ్చు, కానీ ఈ బీటీ టెక్నాలజీ ఏదైతే ఉందో అదొక గన్నుతో మొత్తం అంతటినీ కాల్చేసినట్టు ఈ బీటీ విత్తనాలు పూర్తిగా మిగతా విత్తనాలన్నిటినీ కూడా నాశనం చేసేస్తాయి. ఒక్కసారి మన చేతిలో విత్తనం అనేది లేకపోతే మళ్ళీ మన వ్యవసాయం ఎట్టుపోతుందో మీరే ఆలోచించుకోండి.
Supposing Mr. Coppola, Dr. Coppola is taking us for a picnic. Or is he going to take? He will not take. Right, fine. He's not listening. In case you are going for a picnic, and in the picnic you happen to see this beautiful fish, something unique. You want to take it home. You don't have a refrigerator, you don't have ice. But you have taken food to cook and eat. But you want to bring it home and show it to somebody. You lift the fish and the fish has died.
ఉదాహరణకి మనం ఎక్కడికైనా వెళ్తే మనకు ఒక చేపల పిల్ల నచ్చింది, కానీ దాన్ని మనం ఇంటికి తీసుకెళ్ళగలుగుతామా? అది నీటిలోంచి బయటకు తీయంగానే చనిపోతుంది.
But you want to take it after 2-3 days. What will you do?
అదే మనం 2-3 రోజుల తర్వాత కూడా మనం తీసుకెళ్ళాలనుకుంటే ఏం చేస్తాం? నీటిలో పెడతాం.
She says put it in water. Dead fish put in water for 3 days will decompose.
ఆ చనిపోయిన చేప పిల్లని నీళ్ళలో పోస్తే
I want an answer. What will you do? Salt, because you have taken things for cooking. So in case you want to take it again, you will put salt and convert it into
orgu.
What do you call it as?
Dried fish.
Dried fish is called as
orgu.
We call it as karwadu.
అదే చేపని మనం 2-3 రోజుల తర్వాత తిందాం అనుకుంటే దాన్ని ఏం చేస్తాం? దాంట్లో ఉప్పు వేసి ఒరుగులు చేస్తారు.
Why did it protect it? It did not decompose. Why did it not decompose? Why did it not rot?
ఆ చనిపోయిన చేప పిల్ల మనకి తినడానికి ఉపయోగకరంగా ఎట్లా అయింది?
Why?
ఉప్పు వల్ల.
Why?
ఎలా జరిగిందని అడుగుతున్నారు.
But microorganisms won't grow. If you put salt, microorganisms won't grow. Are you sure? This is the answer she says. Tell them.
సో ఉప్పు వేసినందువల్ల అందులో సూక్ష్మజీవులు దాని మీద పెరగవు కాబట్టి ఆ చేప, చనిపోయిన చేప అట్లానే ఉంది.
In the same way, on a living soil, if you put nitrate, which is a salt of nitrogen, phosphate, which is a salt of phosphorus, and potash, which is a salt, your soil also becomes a karwadu.
ఇదే విధంగా మనం మన మట్టిలో ఎన్పీకే, నత్రజని, భాస్వరం, పొటాష్ అనేవి కూడా ఉప్పులు. ఈ ఉప్పులు కనుక మన భూమిలో వేస్తే మన భూమి కూడా ఈ చేపలాగా ఒరుగులాగా తయారవుతోంది. అది జరుగుతున్నది ఇప్పుడు.
So unfortunately we have a department of soil separate, department of water management separate. Now here in this case, afternoon we all had lunch. Supposing when you are eating there was more salt in the food, what is the first thing you will require?
Water.
You will require water. Same thing happens in a soil. If you keep on adding salts, the soil requires more water. And people are talking about water management, they are changing this.
మనం అన్నంలో ఉప్పు ఎక్కువైనప్పుడు మన నీళ్ళు ఎక్కువ తాగుతాం. అదే విధంగా ఈ రోజు మట్టిలో ఈ ఉప్పు శాతం పెరగడం వల్ల అది నీరు కూడా దానికి ఎక్కువ అవసరం అవుతోంది.
So if you keep on adding more water, the structure of the soil changes, the life in the soil changes.
అదే మనం ఊరికే నీళ్లు పోస్తూ ఉన్న కొద్దీ దాంట్లో ఉన్న సూక్ష్మజీవులు కూడా నశించిపోతాయి, రెండు విధాలుగా కూడా.
And this becomes a soil which is all drought of water.
అది చౌటు నేలలాగా అవుతాయి. అందుకే మన దగ్గర తెలంగాణలో ముఖ్యంగా చూస్తున్నాం చౌటు నేలలు ఎందుకు అవుతున్నాయి.
Soil health is human health because soil is life.
అందుకే మట్టి, ఆరోగ్యమైన మట్టి ఆరోగ్యమైన ఒక జీవితాన్ని ఇస్తుంది మన మానవులకి. బికాస్ అదొక జీవించే వ్యవస్థ, జీవ వ్యవస్థ.
This from Frederick Roosevelt. Yes, country which destroys its soil will destroy itself.
ఇది అమెరికా.
Soil is protection.
మట్టిని నాశనం చేసుకున్న దేశం ఆ దేశమే నాశనం అయిపోతుంది. సో మట్టిని కాపాడుకున్న దేశాలు.
Unfortunately in our group we have so many divisions. Permaculture, biodynamic farming, organic farming, natural farming, sustainable farming, each one wants to show that I am better than somebody else. whether it's permaculture, or whether it's biodynamic, or whether it is sustainable, whether it is natural, whether it is organic, we are all working towards non-chemical, non-poisonous farming. So let us forget the stupidity of fight between us on which path. Let us all work towards non-chemical, non-poisonous farming. Good luck to you all. Thanks very much for being present over here and interacting. Thank you very much for visiting.
ఈరోజు దురదృష్టవశాత్తు ఈ సేంద్రియ వ్యవసాయం అని, జీరో బడ్జెట్ న్యాచురల్ ఫార్మింగ్ అని, పాలేకర్ మెథడ్ అని, ఇంకో మెథడ్ అని అందరం మనం కొట్టు చేస్తున్నాం. కానీ మనం అంతా చేస్తున్నది ఒకటే ఒక విషయం. అదేమిటి అంటే ఒక విషం లేనటువంటి మంచి వ్యవసాయాన్ని మనం తయారు చేయాలని చూస్తున్నాం. కాబట్టి అందరం కూడా కలిసి పని చేద్దాం, మంచి మట్టిని తయారు చేసుకుందాం.